What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY in the overall market. I'm going to break down some big news that's coming out and why this pullback that's coming to Tesla may be very temporary, as it could be followed by a very, very big bounce once we get very close to the big launch of the Robo taxi in Austin, Texas. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposits $2,000 and you're guaranteed at 25 in total. Deposit $5,000 and you're guaranteed 60 free stocks. The offer ends at the end of July, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's talk about what's happening with Tesla. So I understand that in my previous videos, I was talking about how there might be a pullback coming to Tesla. I talked about the head and shoulders that was coming, and as you guys can tell, Tesla did sell off a bit. Whether you see this as a double top or a head and shoulders doesn't really matter. It's bearish either way. And yes, this led to a downside move for Tesla after Elon Musk gave his speech and talked about how he's going to be stepping down from Doge. He's not completely leaving Doge. He's just going to be spending less time at Doge and more time at Tesla. That's going to be good for Tesla, but I think much of that news has been priced in. There was also news about how President Trump wants to increase the steel tariffs. So he made that announcement yesterday about how he wants to increase the tariffs from 25% to 50% to improve the US steel industry. This could be a little bit more negative for Tesla, which is part of why for the short term, we are selling off. And if Tesla does not hold this support right here, the low of Friday, there's going to be a risk of us continuing to fall to fill that gap near 340. So keep that all in mind. Now, I get the short term is looking a bit more bearish for Tesla, but let's look at this on the bigger time frames because, yes, we could dip a little bit more, but don't forget on June 12th, supposedly, that's when Tesla should be launching their robotaxi in Austin, Texas. This may change and also depends on when Tesla confirms this, but this could also be very, very big for us, and this could lead to a lot of big changes. Now, why is this important? Well, the robotaxi industry is going to be massive, massive, massive in the future. It's estimated that it's going to be a multi-trillion-dollar market, as Tesla could use this in so many different ways. So in Texas, they are planning on launching this by the end of June. That's what Tesla has confirmed. And many sources are now saying it's going to be on June 12th when they plan on launching it officially in Austin, Texas. When we approach the date, I do think there could be a big bounce coming again to Tesla. I also want to add that this might also be like a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event because yes, when we get very close to the date, the share price may run again, but then once it's officially launched, we might see another sell-off. So I'll talk more about that in just a couple of minutes, but we're going to kind of break this down. So short term, yes, Tesla could dip a little bit more, but when you zoom out and go to like the daily time frame, okay, you're going to see a very, very different story. Now, this looks like, and this is what the daily looks like, a cup and handle, right, which is very bullish. Secondly, you have to consider that June is the most bullish month of the year for Tesla historically. We tend to be green 80% of the time historically in June. Now, as we're approaching June, look at the setup, guys. It looks bullish, right? This is looking like a left shoulder. This is the head when we formed this quadruple bottom on Tesla back during the April period when we saw lots of tariffs being imposed by President Trump. We pushed to this like 370 area, very close to this resistance. Now we're selling off a bit, and it looks kind of symmetrical. This could continue. If Tesla comes down to fill the gap to 340, I would like that. Maybe if we test a 20 EMA around 328, that would be a very good buying opportunity because then we could be looking for an attempt to launch towards that 400 area as we approach that June 12th period. There could be a big bounce coming. And then once we get that bounce, we could sell off a bit more after we get the robotaxi launch, kind of like a buy the rumor, sell the news event again, before potentially trying to go higher again. So we could be looking for a move like this on Tesla if we continue to push off this inverse head and shoulders setup to look a lot more symmetrical. So that is what could be coming if things go as planned, if we don't get too much bad news, and if we don't get a massive sell-off in the broader markets. So for now, we're going to take it one step at a time, right? We might sell off a little bit more, come down to fill this gap around 340. Maybe we go a little bit lower towards this green line right here. This is going to be our 20 EMA. this is where Tesla is going to be forming an equal low with this low, and that's going to be setting us up for an inverse head and shoulders. If we bounce near 328 to 340 in that range, that could set us up for a big rally to get back up closer to like 375. If not as high as 400, we could be going for that gap fill to 400, approaching the Robotaxi event if it's going to be on like June 12th. And then after they launch the Robotaxi, they're going to launch only like 10 to 20 of them from what I'm seeing in reports. They're just starting off with a small number. They're going to be expanding it as the months go on. They're just starting off in this industry, so you have to give them some time, of course. That's why I do think there could be a sell-off move after the big events, followed by more potential upside if we continue to see lots of developments, if things go as planned. But this is assuming we don't get too many new tariffs. Don't forget, we're going to be approaching the 90-day extension period for the reciprocal tariffs. Remember, President Trump paused them for 90 days. We're going to be approaching that date in July. So we'll see, does Tesla kind of push approaching that and then just dump again? It all depends on a lot of factors I can't really predict. But for the first couple of weeks, I do think that this is the most likely possibility as we dip a bit and then get a big bounce approaching that Robotaxi event. This dip could be setting us up for a very, very big launch. Now for SPY, it might be a little bit different because we're very bullish looking, right? And if President Trump and his team announce that they got the deal, if we get the deal, the tax bill, if it passes, it's going to be injecting more liquidity into the systems. And I get that as of right now, the tax bill is going to be increasing the US debt. It's going to be increasing our deficits, which is not the best for the long term. But about that, I just want to say that President Trump mentioned that he wants to see more cuts in it. He wants to see the debt being cut. He did mention that. He's saying that he wants them to change the bill. He did say that during his press conference. So we'll see what happens with that. But I just want to let you guys know, in case we do get some kind of sell-off on SPY, whether we bottom at 580 or if we go a little bit lower to fill this gap, we'll see about that. Either way, however low we go, between 580 and that 570 zone to fill that gap, that's going to be a good buy zone, and we could be looking for a monstrous bounce back up to all-time highs if we get the bill and if we end up seeing it inject more liquidity into the systems. If it passes the Senate, that's what could be happening. That could be very, very important. So if the bill passes the Senate in the next upcoming weeks, that could be the catalyst to launch us higher. This setup is still possible, and this may be in correlation with Tesla bouncing. That could be a possibility. Of course, nothing's guaranteed, and I do prefer to take it one day at a time. I know that, guys, but I just wanted to show you guys just what the hypotheticals look like given the current setups. So yes, short-term SPY could still dip. Looking at our 30 minutes time frame, we still have that head and shoulders. There's left shoulder, head and right shoulder. We could still dip temporarily, but that could be followed by a big bounce. Same thing with the triple Q. This head and shoulders could still pan out. We have a left shoulder, head, and right shoulder. That could still pan out, causing some downside. But if that happens, okay, let me close these drawings real quick. So this could still dip a little bit. If we do get some kind of dip, the setup is still bullish. Okay, even if we come all the way down to 506 to the 20 EMA to fill that gap, or if we go all the way down to the 490s, either way, 490 to 508, good buy zone. We could be looking for a launch. The pullback could also be very, very minor. Might just retest the 20 EMA and bounce. And we could be looking for a big rally to get back up to all-time highs if we get President Trump's tax bill, right? That could be very, very bullish in my opinion. So this setup still remains, and that's going to be in correlation with Tesla, which has the potential to kind of dip a bit, then bounce as we get very close to the Robotaxi launch. It could sell off a bit after the Robotaxi comes out. Then we could be looking for another bounce. This setup is very possible, but of course I can't make promises because there's so many other factors affecting things. I can't make promises about President Trump's tariffs, for example. I can't predict everything, but I believe it's very probable that Tesla will see a rally as we approach the Robotaxi launch. And for now, we might sell off a little bit more, but that could be followed by a big bounce. Nvidia has a nice setup. It might dip a little bit, of course. We might see Nvidia come down to fill this gap near 130. Even if we come down a bit, whether it's to 130 or even the 125 area, we could still be looking for a big rebound, just like that on Nvidia. The setup is still technically bullish. And just a few more, we have the same thing going on with ES. Bullish setup. Even if we come down a little bit to retest these EMAs, we could still bounce and try to get back up towards those highs if the tax bill passes. Same thing with NQ. This will be the last one I talk about. If we come down to these EMAs, we could still reaccumulate and bounce, which would be nice for Tesla stock. Anyways, that's it for my video, guys. I want to make this one very short and simple. There's lots of unknown factors affecting things, but this setup is still possible on Tesla. We might sell off a little bit more, but there could be a big bounce once we get very close to the launch of this robo taxi. I still believe it's very possible, so we'll see how it goes. Of course, there's going to be a lot of hype, a lot of buyers coming, so get ready for a very, very big move. Historically, Tesla is green about 80% of the time in the month of June, so it's a very strong month. So there could still be a big rally coming. Yes, we could sell off for the time being. We could sell off for a couple of days. It's still possible, but I'll be looking to see if we get that bounce because there's going to be a lot of hype. So get ready, guys. Thank you for listening. Have a good one and peace out.